are welcome here. Arthur, return in spirit. Beloved Arthur, rise. Come and wipe away the tears of bitter mourning. Come quench the fires of unanswered questions. Come forth from the place beyond this world of passions. Come forth from the dark and breathe once more in the light. Spirit is here. Proof, Arthur. We need proof that it is you. Yes. Yes, the gun. No one knew you owned it but you. Someone did know. Who, Arthur? Who? Your father says you knew about the gun. Ian?
I saw it once in the office safe.
Truth! The dead deserve only truth! Lisa, you checked the gun wasn't loaded?
I'm sorry, I forgot. I'm sorry.
Someone could have been killed and you're responsible. Spirit is angry. Anger. Oh, anger. Such anger. Please. Please be calm, Arthur. No, Arthur. No one was hurt. I apologize, Arthur. I apologize. It was an accident. I promise you, Arthur. Please, please be calm, my friend. There is no need for this, Arthur. Put the gun down. Please. Stop it. No!
The lights, Ian! Get the damn lights!
Standing by for VKG.
Go ahead, Central 10.
We have a deceased at this location. It appears suspicious. Could we have Central Detectives homicide and crime scene attend?
Central 10, copy that.
I was hit on the head, that's all I know.
Steve! What have we got? Good evening. This is Lisa Harriman, the victim's personal assistant.
Please, I feel sick. I need to see a doctor.
Just take it easy, dear. I'll see if I can find somebody to escort you to hospital. This is Gillian Pittman, her daughter Helen, her son Ian, and his wife Sestina. She made the call.
How long will we be? I have to tell the babysitter.
We have twins. They can be quite a handful.
So can some homicide investigations.
It was Arthur. Arthur fired the gun.
Don't be ridiculous, Mother. Let them get on.
Steve, who's Arthur?
Arthur Pittman. He's been dead 3 years. Apparently his ghost was here this evening. It opened that drawer, took out the gun, pointed at the victim, and shot him.
Well, I'm sorry, the ghost shot him.
Pittman family believe the gun floated through the air.
It's called telekinesis.
Yes, well, I've got a much better name for it.
This is Quentin Warburton, medium and psychic.
Well, he wasn't very good at it, was he? He didn't see this coming.
Get a photograph of that, will you?
What, is that a pager?
No, it looks more like a remote control device.
Lance, do you mind if I...
No, not at all. Get it. Right, now you show it up for the constable to photograph. That's what we do.
It's not blood.
No, it looks more like the fake blood that actors use. Right, it's all yours, Imogen. Inspector?
Yeah,
That hasn't been photographed yet.
but at least we have a murder weapon.
No, we don't. Sorry to disappoint you. That may well be the gun that the Pittman family saw floating in the air, but it didn't kill anyone.
How can you be so sure?
It's plastic. It's a replica.
Really?
Yes, but the bullet that did this was very real.
Three years ago, Dad's car crashed into the bush. His body was never found. About a week after the search was called off, Warburton phoned and told Mum that he'd received a message from the other side.
The other side?
Warburton said Dad was dead.
He invited Ian's mum to a séance. Said he could make contact with the other side. If you ask me, Warburton wanted to make contact with the family money. He charged $2,000 a session.
And how often did she go to these séances?
Every few weeks for almost 3 years. Then about 2 months ago, Mum insisted the whole family attend a séance together. Well, Warburton went into a trance and that's where he told us where we could find Dad's body.
Warburton knew where the body was.
Dad's spirit told him. Police went back up into the bush and found Dad's skeleton exactly where Warburton said.
He'd fallen over a cliff. The newspapers loved it. The reporters even came to the funeral. Helen was furious. That was another excuse for putting off reading the will.
When was the funeral?
A month ago. 3 years after his death.
But your mother kept going to the seances.
Yes.
And what happened tonight?
Warburton was putting on a great show. I mean, I was really quite enjoying it. Until he fired the gun.
There were 2 shots. Before he was killed, Warburton fired the gun through a vase by accident. Did you know his assistant Lisa was supposed to check the gun wasn't loaded?
What, Lisa was in the séance room?
Yeah, she was behind me by the door. Warburton reprimanded her, saying someone could have been killed.
It was all a sham. It was obvious Warburton knew the damn thing was loaded. The man was a charlatan. He had Mother completely fooled.
Poor, sweet man. The gift of second sight is a curse.
How did Mr. Warburton get your husband's gun?
Arthur's spirit told him that it was in the safe. I gave it to him.
After Warburton fired the gun, what did he do?
He put the gun in the drawer, and then all the candles went out, and he started the play acting again.
If the candles were out, then you would all be sitting in the dark.
No, he had it all set up.
There was a light. Arthur's energy. The glow of Arthur's aura was in the room. And Arthur opened the drawer.
You saw Arthur do this?
No. I mean, spirits are invisible, but you feel their presence. Mr. Warburton tried to calm my husband's spirit, but Arthur was so angry that one of us could have been hurt. Arthur opened the drawer and took out the gun.
I don't know how he made the damn thing fly in the air, but it did.
Mr. Warburton begged my husband's spirit to put the gun down, but Arthur pulled the trigger.
Trickery. That's all it was. One of Warburton's tricks went horribly wrong.
Mrs. Pittman, Lisa Harriman, Warburton's assistant, was injured during all this. Can you tell us what happened there?
No. I haven't the faintest idea what happened to her. When Ian turned on the lights, she was lying on the floor next to Mother.
Yeah, but how did she get there? Before the lights went out, Lisa was behind your sister-in-law, Sistina.
I don't know. Why don't you ask her?
We will.
All right, now, Warburton was a con man, right? A magician. He didn't do things by accident, so why that first accidental shot?
Lend me $1 and I'll show you.
Excuse me?
Got $1? Just give me $1.
No, all right.
All right, now put it on the notebook. Yeah? All right. Now, watch carefully. Where's your $1?
In your left hand.
Right. Have a look underneath the notebook.
It's 10 cents. Where's my $1?
Well, while you were looking underneath the notebook, it could have gone anywhere. Magicians call it misdirection.
So you put the 10 cents under the notebook when you went like that?
Yeah.
And you're saying that Warburton put the gun in the drawer and then the spirit got angry?
Yeah. After yelling at Lisa, Warburton took all the attention on himself, right? No one was looking at Lisa. Classic misdirection.
So Lisa was doing something while the others were looking at Warburton. What was she doing?
Why don't we ask her?
Not much point. I've just had a call from the hospital. Lisa Harriman went into the cubicle to get a forage stitched. She didn't come out again. She has shot through on us.
This place freaks me out.
Must be the ghosts, Dee.
Don't joke about ghosts, Tessa. I was playing with a Ouija board once and I heard this crash in the kitchen. All the dinner plates were smashed to the floor, every one of them.
Does the word possum mean anything to you, Dee?
No, it wasn't a possum, smarty pants. You're a Catholic, aren't you? I thought you were supposed to believe in life after death.
I do. Up there, but not down here, juggling crockery.
Pretty amazing crime scene. I think I can give a reasonable account for everything the Pittman family saw. Excuse me. Now, from here, I dug a .22 caliber bullet. That would account for the smashed vase and the first shot fired from a very real gun.
Now, the witnesses say that they saw Warburton open this drawer and then put the real gun inside.
Well, chances are the replica was already in there.
Just give us a little bit of space, will you, Hayden?
Oh, sorry, Fisk, I didn't realise I was in the way.
Now, the remote control device that was found in Warburton's pocket contained several function buttons. Now, you press this one.
Cold air?
Yeah.
So this is how the candles flickered and went out right on cue?
Exactly. Where's Hayden gone? Typical.
Don't do that. It's not funny. Very cruel, Steve. It wasn't possums that smashed those plates either, you know, because all the windows were shut. Unless, of course, they hopped up and opened the back door. Steve? Steve?
Now, when Warburton pressed this button, pretty impressive, eh? There are electromagnets that are built into the drawer. They're also built into the sideboard and the wall. Now, the replica gun is, of course, plastic, but it has a steel wire core, so when the magnets are turned on, the gun
would rise up.
Exactly. Can't fire, of course. But if you have a look inside there, there's a small explosive detonator. Now, that would sound like a gunshot.
Hey, is this a false back?
It is.
So where's it lead to?
In here.
Yes, in there. Good work, Detective.
Sorry, Fisk, spoiled your fun, have I?
Not at all.
Come in.
May I? Sorry. Certainly may, but don't touch anything. Dee hasn't photographed in there yet. How'd you get in here?
If I may, Fisk, Warburton and Lisa had an elaborate plan. When the attention was on Warburton, Lisa would leave the seance room through the curtains, go round the back, and into this room through this door. Warburton would open the drawer with a remote. Lisa, through this computer, would turn on the electromagnets, the gun would rise, and at the appropriate moment, trigger the detonator.
Yes, and of course, when the magnets were turned off, the replica gun would fall, leaving behind the very real gun in the drawer.
So that would mean that Lisa would then leave this room, through this door, go back along the corridor, into the seance room, turn on the lights, and it would look as though she'd never left the room.
Everyone would see Warburton with a blood-soaked handkerchief to his head, and he would say, I want a lot more money before I talk to the dead again.
Yeah, of course, that was how it was all supposed to happen. But in effect, Lisa Herriman did not set off the detonator. She did not remove the replica gun. Instead, she was hit on the head.
But how did that happen, and where's the real gun now?
Well, it's something else we can ask her when we find her.
Find her?
Yeah, she's missing. We've circulated a photo and put surveillance on her house.
Right. Now listen, did either of you notice that you can see into the seance room through this drawer here? Yeah. So did it occur to you that the killer may have taken the gun from the drawer and fired the shot from here? No, I didn't think so.
Very good, Fisk.
Stop doing that!
Doing what? I didn't do a thing.
I saw something. It wasn't a possum. There was this light moving up and down through the bushes.
Terrific. Fascinating. Still haven't processed the crime scene yet, you know.
Well, I thought we'd finished.
No, still got to photograph the black room. Come on.
What?
The estate was only unfrozen when Dad's body was found.
Yeah, and the will says Ian inherits a third of what the company is worth. We want it now.
Could you please explain to your wife that it takes time to wrap up a company?
Look, the fact is, I really don't understand the delay myself.
Well, you know as well as I do that the company assets have been frozen for 3 years. The debtors and creditors have to be sorted out. Do you want to contact Daddy's clients? Do you?
You know I wouldn't have a clue.
No. So it's all left up to me. I'm going to see how Mother is.
I want the twins to go to the same school Ian did. I want them to have the same privileges you have.
My father left school when he was 14. He worked every hour that God sent. He didn't sit around waiting for handouts.
I told you, she's stalling for time. If you don't stop her, she'll steal the lot.
I hate it when you peel back the face.
It makes things clearer. One bullet. Thanks, Lance.
You're welcome, Imogen. Now, that does look like the same kind that I retrieved from the wall at the crime scene. I'll have to do a proper comparison test, of course.
Pity we don't have the murder weapon to compare them with.
I read my mind, Imogen. Look, we are rather interested in the angle of entry.
The witnesses said that they saw the murder weapon pointed directly at the victim's forehead.
Yes, I've got a different theory.
Victim jump up just before he died? Because the bullet entered the eye orbit and indented the inferior surface of the occipital bone at an angle of very nearly 45 degrees.
45 degrees.
So the gun was well below the level of the forehead.
Right, so the bullet was fired through the drawer from the black room.
Where Lisa Harriman was.
And she could be anywhere by now.
Ah, Mr. North, always a pleasure.
Inspector Thorne, I believe you may know my client, Lisa Harriman.
Yes, we've met. Feeling better?
I don't know how Warburton got shot.
Then why did you run away from the hospital?
Look, Detective, isn't it obvious? My client quite sensibly felt she should seek legal advice before she was interviewed.
Don't let him do the talking, Steve.
Sir, do you think you can let your client answer these questions, please?
Good boy.
So how did Warburton meet the Pittman family?
The same way he found most of his clients, by reading the death section of the newspapers. The Pittman family was splashed all over the front page when Arthur went missing.
With plenty of detail about the disappearance and about the family?
No body, the estate was frozen, no insurance payout. The family were arguing and the old lady needed a friend. It's amazing. In a seance, you can actually tell them things they told you over a cup of tea the day before.
So that's how Warburton got his information, is it?
Most of it. But he always claimed he really was psychic. Even I believed him sometimes. I mean, finding Arthur Pittman's body.
How did Warburton find the body?
I have no idea.
Really? Why don't I believe you?
Look, all I know is that the publicity brought us more new clients than we could handle.
Lisa, what really happened on the night of the seance?
You found the black room?
Yes, and the secret compartments.
I left the seance room and I went down the hallway to the black room. Someone must have followed me. I turned on the computer and I was hit on the head and I fell against the panel back into the seance room. I only vaguely remember hearing the gun go off. I swear that's all I know.
And the gun, the real gun, where's that now?
It was in the drawer. Didn't you find it?
No, I didn't.
Then whoever hit me must have taken it.
Around and around we go.
Oh, Arthur. I know you were angry with me, but Mr. Warburton was such a comfort. You won't be angry now, will you? Now that he's dead. You should be at peace. It's all I've ever wanted for you.
Waiting.
I'll only be a tick.
I'll be late for the hairdresser. Give me the car keys.
Warburton knew a hell of a lot about the family. How did he know so much?
Does it matter?
He even knew I'd seen Dad's gun in the office safe. I mean, how did he know that?
How should I know?
Because I didn't tell anybody else except for you.
Borrow Mummy's car when it's time to pick the twins up from daycare.
Lisa Herriman had access to the murder weapon and time to get rid of it.
Do you know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking that that head wound could well have been self-inflicted, you know, as a cover. But then again, if she is telling the truth, it was dark. They were all looking at Warburton. One of the Pittman family may well have followed her into the black room, hit her on the head, and then shot Warburton. It's a possibility.
Okay, that's done.
Thanks, Dee.
No worries. Hey, what do you reckon about this shot I took in the garden? What do you think that is there? I'm not saying it's a ghost or anything, but some people believe that when a person dies suddenly and they're not happy about it, their aura gets left behind.
Yes, well, as a rule, though, Dee, I don't think the dead come back.
Right. Okay, well, what about the dead sending messages saying where their body can be found?
Well, that would be a no also.
That'd be no also, would it? You want to bet? Why don't you follow me?
Great.
This is a tape where Warburton tells the local police where Pittman's body was found.
Where, Arthur? Where? Follow the southern way between flooded gum and tallow-wood. Keep to the southern way. There you will find my mortal remains.
What a performance.
Well, it must have been good enough for the local police because that's where the body was found.
I think we should check this place out.
I'd get back before dark if I was you.
Local police reckon he's been out this way for 20 years.
Maybe we should have waited for them to come up with us.
I love getting out in the fresh air. I'd almost forgotten what it was like.
Hey, there he is. Talk back, tell.
Half daft and half deaf by the look of him.
What, is he listening to a radio?
Yeah, maybe you can feel the vibration or something, huh?
Can you imagine that, living in the bush for 20-odd years, nothing but a radio to keep you company?
Well, I could think of things worse, Tessa, like living in the city for 20 years, for example. Hello? Hello, sir? Excuse me? Hello? Oh, it's all right.
What do you want? Nothing to pinch here. You leave old Tell alone. There's nothing you want here.
Sir, we're police officers. It's all right.
That ain't yours. You broke it. I'll have the cops on you.
Sir, we are the coppers.
And it's not broken, you see? The light's still on.
It's okay.
The local sergeant told us that you might show us where the body was found 2 months ago. You said that you might be able to show us where the body was found 2 months ago, yeah? Yep.
It's a long walk from here, girlie.
We must be getting close.
Old Tell ain't going any further. Not for $10 he ain't.
Why, what's the problem?
You watch yourself, Sonny Jim. It's a big one.
No wonder it took 3 years to find Arthur Pittman's body.
Animals done for him, girlie. Done for him. Quick, smart.
Warburton didn't find Arthur Pittman's body by knocking on a table.
Yeah, maybe Warburton set the whole thing up.
Yeah, well, maybe he shot himself too.
Yeah, but if Warburton was involved in Arthur Pittman's disappearance and the Pittman family found out...
Maybe and an if. Two of my least favourite words. OK, talk to Warburton's assistant again, but bear in mind that the coroner's finding on the death of Arthur Pittman was death by misadventure, so that case is closed. Concentrate on finding out who killed Warburton and try and keep the ifs and the maybes to a minimum. Tough call, but if you can.
What the hell are you doing? You have no right.
I was going to apologise for Sistina, but I'm starting to believe she's right. I mean, these accounts don't make sense. You've paid out hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Debts have to be paid.
Are these names real, or are you fiddling the books?
Don't you dare accuse me! Oh, you idiot!
What the hell is all this? There must be thousands of dollars here. Sistina was right. You've been hiding all the money. You've been stealing from your own family.
I've told you I don't know how Warburton knew where to find Arthur Pittman's body.
Lisa, please stop pretending that Warburton was psychic. Please.
Look, I stopped digging for dirt on the Pittmans weeks before Warburton told them he could find the body.
And why did you stop feeding Warburton the information?
He told me to.
Why is that?
He said he'd found the etheric link.
The what?
The link with the spirit world. It's what he always said when he started sleeping with one of his clients.
Am I right in saying that Warburton was sleeping with a member of the Pittman family to get inside information?
Ask the daughter-in-law, Sistina.
It was purely a business arrangement.
Business?
Ian's sister believes I only married into the family for the money. Helen doesn't want me to get a cent. She's fiddling the books, hiding the money from Ian and me.
And what's that got to do with Warburton?
Warburton promised to find out what Helen was up to, and in return I gave him tidbits. Family trivia.
Like telling him Arthur Pittman had a gun?
My husband told me about it.
Did you also tell Warburton where he could find Arthur Pittman's body?
Come on, if I'd known I would have informed the police myself, years ago. Everything was frozen until the body was found.
Well, if you didn't tell him, how did Warburton know where the body was?
I don't know. The day Warburton told the family, I went to his house early. He was as white as a sheet. He said he'd been up all night talking to the dead.
And you believed him?
I didn't care. All I was interested in was how Helen was ripping us off.
How could she say that?
She believes it.
I've had to do it all. Dad's funeral, wrapping up the company. When do I get a chance to grieve? And what thanks do I get? And she turns my brother against me. He thinks I've been hiding money from the family.
Have you?
My father didn't leave a cent. The company was insolvent. My mother could be thrown out of the house tomorrow, and she doesn't even know it.
Mum, sit down. I've got something to tell you.
Where are they?
Helen's been stealing from us.
Don't be ridiculous. What have you done with my letters?
Letters? Mum, Helen's been hiding money. There must be 200,000 there.
There's 300,000.
You knew she had the money?
What are you talking about? Helen didn't know.
Mum, what is going on?
My letters.
What are they?
My letters. Before we were married, your father wrote to me every single day. Every day. I've kept the letters all these years.
You're drinking?
To remember the man that I fell in love with. Such passion. Swept me off my feet, promised me the moon. What you didn't tell me was that you'd spend most of our marriage in your office. You should have retired, Arthur, before you lost everything.
What do you mean, before he lost everything?
I didn't care. I've been putting money away. We would have had enough for our old age.
Mum?
You don't approve, Arthur. You didn't approve of a lot of things, Arthur. All I wanted was a man who would love me more than his office. A lover, Arthur. A lover.
I don't know, dirt on the lens, perhaps.
Keep my lenses clean, thank you, Sergeant.
Car headlights, police cars going back to
The
town.
light was floating through the air.
Could be Tinkerbell. What about ectoplasm? There was a bit of ectoplasm around the crime scene.
Everyone's a comedian today, aren't they?
He said he'd found the etheric link. The link with the spirit world.
He was as white as a sheet. He said he'd been up all night talking to the dead.
Dee, would you enlarge this for me? Yeah? Why? Because I don't think it's headlights or Tinkerbell.
Forgive me for just dropping in. I know this must be a very difficult time for you.
For everyone.
But you must feel the loss most. You've lost a dear friend. And your only hope of having contact with your husband.
You've lost someone too?
Yes. But there is solace for me. I still have the etheric link. And I've come to ask you all to one last seance. Tonight.
I just think people should keep an open mind, Steve.
Dee, could you go in further there, please?
Yes.
Steve Hayden. Yes.
I wonder, would you be able to come to the house? There's something I think you should know. I'll be here.
Helen Pittman says she has some new information for us.
That's it. If I enlarge it any further, I'll lose definition.
Okay, okay. Will you print that out for me?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
Why, what are you seeing?
Do you see?
That's the pathway to the etheric link.
It is indeed. Now, look, I'll follow that up if you'll go to the Pitmans.
Yeah, right.
Yep, good. Thank you, Dee. Hey!
Oh, that's quite a hike. But I suppose you're used to it.
There's only enough for one.
Oh, no, it's fine. I've eaten, thanks. Listen, I was wanting to ask you about when the body was found. I said I was wanting to ask you about when the body was found.
Ask the coppers. They found it.
Listen, I have a photograph here of Quentin Warburton. He claimed he was a psychic. Do you recognise him? Have you seen him up around here at all? Excuse me. Yeah. Oh, good. Hope it will be you. Listen, what did Helen Pittman want? Steve?
You'll never guess. We've been invited to a séance.
That's everything. All Warburton's tricks. As you can see, he went to a great deal of trouble to convince you all of his powers. All fakery. Mrs. Pittman.
How long is this charade going to take?
Please, I want to hear more. Quentin Warburton was a fraud. A con man. It was wrong of me to help him. I know that now. All night I kept hearing this voice in my head, telling me how wrong it was of me to play his games. Then I realized I knew the voice. It was your husband, Mrs. Pittman.
This has gone too far.
Would you let him speak? Would you turn out the lights, please? Warburton had no psychic powers. But I do. I'm the real medium, and tonight I'll prove it to you. I'm going to channel your husband's spirit. I will become Arthur. Light. White light. Arthur is surrounded by white light. He's saying a name. He's saying...
Gillian. Oh, Gillian. Can you ever forgive me? Gillian will know my voice. Won't you, my darling?
Yes. Yes.
As night wraps gently her arms about the day, she brings the magic hour, and shadows start to play. Do you remember, Gillian? I wrote the poem on our honeymoon.
The truth is, I didn't write that. I copied it from a book. I never was the man you thought I was. I couldn't even commit suicide properly. I wrote the car off, but I survived. I failed at dying like I failed my family all my life.
You sit down. Who found you, Arthur?
An old bloke called Tell. He rescued me from the car accident, looked after me, let me have his radio. That's how I knew how the famous psychic Warburton was fleecing you.
Dad, no. No.
And what happened to old Till?
His heart gave out one day. I saw my chance. I put my clothes on Tell, put my wedding ring on his finger, threw him off the cliff, and waited for the elements to do their work.
When there was nothing left but the skeleton, he contacted Warburton, told him where Arthur Pittman's body was. Only Warburton saw through Arthur's disguise.
You can't call a con man. He blackmailed me into making that tape you heard just now. Said he'd tell the insurance company that I was still alive. Gillian, I had to stop Warburton ripping you off.
This creature isn't my husband. It can't be you.
I just want this whole charade to stop.
And so on the night of the séance, you followed Lisa into the secret room, is that right?
It was pitch black. I panicked. I picked up the gun and then hit her. I could see Warburton through that drawer there, pretending to talk to the dead, to me, trying to calm me down. I was angry. I killed him.
And then, what did you do?
I ran, threw the gun in the river, went back to my caravan. I'm sorry. But I was happy out there.
Did you really think you were going to get away with this, with me being here this evening?
Warburton always said, take the risk, be confident.
Do you know Arthur Pittman was still alive?
No. I actually thought Warburton might have killed him. I saw Warburton bury those tapes, and when I listened to them and heard Arthur's voice, I realised they were Warburton's ace card. He'd used them to play the family along for years.
And that's when you discovered your psychic powers.
I needed a career change.
More stars in a country sky.
Please don't tell me there are more stars in a country sky.
I'm telling you, there are more stars in a country sky. I'm sorry.
Go build your dream home, farm boy. Hey, do you think we should tell Dee that the ghost in her photograph was Talkback Tells Radio Lights?
Nah, let's let her hang.